Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to talk about a settings or configurations across the PIM, right? Which is a privileged identity management. And that is something which we can manage for different roles across the organizations. Similarly, the same way the PIM roles and its configurations is also applicable and manageable from Entra ID side as well as the Azure side as well on the both side, right? And the setting which I'm going to show you, that's from Entra ID portal, right? So what that setting is going to do and how we can manage it, right? Now there might be questions and you might be saying that, okay, so what are those settings and how that setting can help us to streamline our role assignments and notifications and all of that stuff, right? Even that is also considered as underline or not so important in many cases, right? Because when there is someone who has a membership of respective PIM group, they would be able to go ahead and request or add or enable that respective role for minimum and by default of 8 hours, right? And again, it depends on how we are going to set up the PIM roles, right? And then assign it to the respective groups, right? But the setting which is something which allows and shows a different things around notifications and who should get what, right? So that is what the setting is all about, and I'm going to show you that one, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So before that, let me share my screen and I'll simply walk you through on each of those, right? So perfect. Let me share it here. Perfect. So here you can see I'm on Entra ID portal, and under the Entra, I'm on Privileged Identity Management portal, right? So from here, you would see bunch of options, including tasks management or manage activity and the activities as well, activities of all those resources. And that's going to help us on auditing and making sure those roles are used expectedly, right? So now let's go ahead and look at the settings, right? So here's the setting option, which is very important to know and manage for the whole tenant level. And you would see there are a bunch of different roles. So these are the default roles, and even you would see custom created roles as well. So this last role here, you can see it is groups admin for app. That means this is the custom role that I had created before, right? Now, you'd say, or you might say, okay, what is the setting that we can go ahead and manage it, right? So now this setting is going to be something which is going to allow us to make changes on each role separately, right? So it depends on us what settings we wanted to use, what settings we wanted to change, and basis on that, it is going to be applicable for that respective role, right? So now you can see that now oh, let's click on user administrator role. And once we click on it, you would see bunch of these options, right? And here, there's a lot of settings over here, right? So starting from activation, then assignments, then send notifications when members are assigned as eligible to this role. Then next is send notifications when members are assigned as active to this role, right? And the last is send notifications when eligible members activate this role, right? So now this is basis on the three different categories. So on the at least for these three options, including admin, assignee, and approver, right? And basis on that, we can go ahead and make the changes. And to make those changes or edit, we have edit option over here to make changes on all of the settings for different role. But you would see these are the default options which are selected and set up, right? So basis on these, whatever the notifications and configuration is available, and in many cases, the setting is not needed to make changes, right? But when you are going to create a customized autoflow or customized PIM groups and role assignments, then that means we should definitely go ahead and do this one, right? Because if in case the user is trying to add and assign any of the privileged role. That means we are or we should be doing enforcing multi-factor authentication. User should have uh, the role activated on particular period only and not 24/7, because if they have it, that means that's going to be or that might add security risk, right? So in that case, those are the situations too, right? So let's go ahead and edit this one and let's look at one by one. All right. So here you can see there are three windows under activation, assignment, and notifications. So under assignments or activation, you can see by default it is going to be 8 hours. But if in case we wanted to keep it for lesser time, so minimum is going to be half, as in 30 minutes, right? So that can also be set up over here. And if we set 30, that's going to automatically picking up to 24. That is why zero point 0.5 is the correct duration or set time period, right? So this is how it is going to be, and maximum is of 24 hours. So let's keep it for 3 hours because I wanted to give someone as any of this role or this respective role for only 3 hours, right? And then we can also map it with Azure MFA as well as conditional access policies, authentication context, right? To make that more stronger authentication, and user is going to authenticate themselves and say who they say are, right? So based on whatever is configured here in the authentication context, that is going to be applied and that's going to be enforced, right? So for now, let's say I wanted to select this one. That's selected, and you can see we can request all other details when user is trying to authenticate or trying to not authenticate but request this role, where we wanted user to provide justification on activation, require ticket information on activation, or require approval to activate it, right? So to set it up, we can check these boxes as per needs, but definitely there should be an appropriate integration with the respective tools or systems, right? For the justification option on activation, there is no third-party integration or tool at all. But on the second option, on the required ticket information on activation, definitely we should have integration somewhere with the respective ticketing tool, right? Then it's going to create and raise that ticket to the respective group of people, and then upon validation and verification, the same ticket would be approved or denied, or uh, maybe if they have some other process to follow, that process will be followed up, right? And on the last option, require approval to activate. That means here we are going to add someone to approve that request, right? So any user, be it a manager or someone who has an authority to go ahead and approve those requests, right? So here we can add members or users directly or a specific group if in case we wanted to send the same notification to that respective group, right? So this way it is going to be added, right? So for now, let's keep these two options because I don't have the ticket information on activation enabled for this one. So we can remove that one. And let's look at the assignment tab, right? So on the assignment tab, you can see there are a bunch of options here, starting from allow permanent eligible assignments, which is going to be 1 year by default if we do that. If not, then we can start from 15 days till the 1 year maximum. Similarly, on the allow permanent activation as well, that is also for 1 year maximum, and by default is going to be 6 months. And then there are other options where we can enforce multi-factor authentication on active assignments and require justification on active assignments as well, right? So both of these options would be enforced at this time or when we are setting up these configurations for the respective role. So this is completely manageable and controllable, however we wanted to change it, right? So this way we can go ahead and make that change. All right. So let's keep this as is for now, and it should be good to go ahead. And if I wanted to enforce MFA, so I'll simply go ahead and enable that option. And under the notifications tab, you can see bunch of options over here, right? So this can be managed as per need, as in when we wanted to get notified when someone is activating any of those roles, right? As well as any roles whoever is eligible for, as well as whoever is a member on any of those active roles, right? So default recipients would be administrator, assignee, and approvers. So these would be the people where they would be notified by default without any changes. But you would also see that we have an additional recipients option over here, right? So we can go ahead and add any of the additional recipients, right? So this is manageable and we can go ahead and add that as well, right? Also, if in case any critical email notifications we wanted to get out of all of these changes, including assigned on eligible, active, and activate, right? So that can also be enabled basis on the needs. And to do that, we have these options to simply check those boxes and enable it, right? So basis on that, it is going to notify us saying that, okay, this is the notification raised, or this was the notification because of so and so changes on so and so scenarios, right? So basis on that, it is going to notify to these additional recipients as well. Also, we can go ahead and remove these existing notifications for assignee and approver as well, because if in case we don't want them to see and probably be confused, so we can go ahead and do that as well, right? So this is how we should be able to do it, right? Now, there might be question, do we really care about this? Do we really need to make these changes? Or this is just a kind of notification service and can be ignored, can be uh, not given attention to it at all, because that's not really important for the business and the team, or the the overall management of role management and overall activities of the different teams who are actually requesting roles and access levels on all of that stuff, right? But it is not something you can ignore, because if in case we wanted to do the audits and everything, that means we should be able to do this and it's going to be helpful as well, right? So this way it is going to be appropriate for any of those changes and requirements, right? So now we did it for user administrator role over here. Let me scroll it down a bit. Okay, it's here at the top. And once we go there, the same setting can be shown up. So now you can see the changes, whatever we made, all those changes are showing up over here, right? And you can see all those changes by enabling this one, justification, and then these options are set to true. Earlier it was false, right? And basis on that, it is going to be activated. Now, let's look at the custom role which I have created. So this is the custom role, and for the custom role also, it is going to be the same. So there is no difference on it, right? Basis on our customization or basic needs, at least at minimum, we can go ahead and make those changes as well. So that is the way, and that's how we can go ahead and do that, right? So that's way to make the changes on activation assignments and eligible along with active and activate roles through PIM, right? So yep, that is how it is. And that's what I wanted to show you and talk about across PIM settings and PIM methods for the roles and how we can manage it, right? So as an administrator, as IT pro, you should be able to do that. And it's also going to help us to take the control of management of all those roles and capabilities. And even that is considered as underlined or not so important requirement or not so important task, but yeah, definitely that's going to be adding the value in the audit and all that capabilities, right? So yeah, that is what I wanted to talk to you and show about. Hope you like it. Hope you learned something new, and don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel as well so that you get to see every new video whenever it is up and available on channel. So yep, that's all. Thanks for watching and bye for now.